for me?
One of the big concerns in the state of Washington is our health care and how to address our health care. And this health care is in concerns with our health. Do you believe that each individual should take on their own responsibility and concerns concerning health care and what should be done for their own safety and their health, or should it be governed by the government? And in which way, if so?
Okay, I appreciate that. Okay, the theme that runs through my life is autonomy. I like to talk about autonomy because our physical bodies teach us so many amazing things. Just our own body. Our body has an immune system. It knows how. It has a whole army. Like the white blood cells are an entire army to fight any kind of foreign obstruction or foreign intrusion. You know, the white blood cells. You know, our whole body communicates with itself, right? It's and there are times that we need external support, which is why we have doctors. We have authority through doctors that study and understand medicine and how the body works. But the ideal goal is that we only go to those resources if we get stuck, or if we get in a place that we're not able to bring healing in our body. If our immune systems are weakened, we're fighting a lot of external things, a lot of toxins, toxic air, environments, you know, and these things affect our bodies in adverse ways. We've got the cell phone, you know, microwave, the EMFs. There's a lot of discovery. We have a lot of room to grow to really address these things so that we can personally be responsible. And I think that when we have external, I think it should be every person's right to choose vaccinations. We should not have vaccinations be forced upon us without full disclosure. Obviously, it's your body. I mean, I would like to know if someone's going to vaccinate. I want to know exactly what's in that vaccination. I want to know the trials that have been done on it, because we're putting it into our human body. We want the level of metals, and this needs to all be fully disclosed, because if there's nothing to hide, then why would you not disclose everything? And I think this is the same truth that needs to be required in food, in what we put in our bodies as far as food. It's the same idea, is that, you know, we're not going to let other people outside be just, you know, relying on external hocus pocus. Sometimes people are telling us, well, the food chain is this, and in reality it isn't, and that these things make you sick and then they don't. So I think having empowering those who actually will study these things out and bring them to us, so that we have facts and that we know what to eat in our bodies, what makes us sick. And then we do go to our doctors. We do have health care. We do need health care. And I think we should still have access to, we should open up access to more natural means and have them funded and made available for our lives, for our families.
What about isolation? You know, isolation seems to be a big concern with a lot of people. It's like, are we put on this planet to be isolated, or along with our healthcare decisions, should we be allowed to take on responsibility and make choices for ourselves as far as isolation is concerned?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, it seems like, can we believe that we're even having to ask this question at this juncture of human history? I mean, we're thinking about the whole world and all of history. I mean, I'm thinking maybe we should offer a big meeting and we could like talk to the Creator and ask him, could he please give us babies with face masks, because we might get sick and die. You know, it seems so ridiculous. It's irrational. I mean, our human body is so gloriously made. Any doctor will tell you that you don't even have to say God or not. I mean, it's just the way we're made. Last time I checked, you know, none of us made ourselves. So the thing is that our bodies work, whether we believe it's God or it's not, or, you know, our body's amazing. It has an immune system that fights. In fact, when you oppress the immune system, you weaken it, so that when you take off the mask, then you're going to get sick immediately by some germ that picked up on the doorknob. But it's ridiculous actually, because we are our body in any we are such what do you call it? We acclimate in any environment. Our body is so resilient. Our body, within the first 3 months I was in Central America, the mosquitoes ate me to death. But after about 3 months, I was drinking the water, eating the food, and pretty soon they didn't want to bite me. Why? Because my blood, my whole system acclimated to where I was. That's because we're made that way. So strengthening these avenues, what we put in our body, how we feed ourselves, so that we don't need external medicines that are not necessary. When we can heal and bring healing to our bodies through what we eat and what we don't eat, and we have knowledge and we learn about these things, we make knowledge accessible so that we can be autonomous.
So you think isolation should be a individual choice?
Absolutely. No, in all reality, we're not made to be isolated. We are made to connect. But that should be an individual choice. Absolutely. To have someone outside, it would be very strange that I would tell my 28-year-old child, you need to go to your room, stay in your, we raise children to be adults, so as an adult, we make those choices. Absolutely.
What about the businesses of Washington State? Do you think that they can safely be open, and perhaps
Absolutely.
are there risks at hand?
There's I'm sorry. Yes, the risk every day. I mean, I could get hit by a bus. I mean, I take a risk every single day. We all take risks every single day. This is absolutely ludicrous. It's ridiculous. It is embarrassing to me. I mean, that are you serious? Like, are you kidding? We take risks every single day. We drive vehicles that could kill us. We go on a bus. We cross streets. I mean, we've lived this long. We're here, and it's.
What about the people that are concerned about risks? Is it? Can you?
If
Do you think that that their risk is reasonable, and can we work with their risk, or do you think it should just be a free for all, or what's your thought on that?
No, that's good. I think that, well, like we all know, just dismantling the whole mask and the need to protect. It's even before the COVID hit us. It's something that if people are vulnerable, or if you have a cold and you're going out into a public place, I mean, common sense, if you want to wear a mask, or if you're at high risk for any kind of sickness, these should be things that we're washing hands. I mean, cleanliness, all of these things should be patterns anyways in our daily life. I mean, it's like things that we know to do. I think that it would make sense that if I know that someone is ill, they're free to wear a mask, and to invest in masks that protect them. Absolutely. That's a very personal choice. I mean, it's not my responsibility to if you feel vulnerable or sick, or that you could get sick from somebody or myself, then you're free to wear a mask. And I wouldn't think, oh, what's wrong with him? I would say, well, I can even learn from you with a mask on. I mean, if you want to say, if you choose you want to wear a mask, but it's something that I don't think that anyone has a right to put that over any. That's a very personal choice, and it's a complete crossing of boundaries to enforce wearing masks.
Okay, now I'm going to go off this COVID situation. We've been talking a whole lot about that. There's some other issues and in part of big concerns that I know of that are mine, but I also feel are very common amongst the people in this state of Washington.
Absolutely.
Is we have voted laws to take place in situations in illegal systems to take place. Do you, as governor, are you gonna go with where the people are at, or are you gonna let it continue to go in the direction that it's going? And I'm just using this for a prime example, like like the car tab deals. We all voted on car tabs. And it was very clear that the state of Washington wanted that car tab deal to pass.
The people wanted that. That's correct.
And there's other things such as that. Where are you at with that?
Well, I would say most truthfully, my motto has been, it is my passion to return to public office the servant heart and the power back to the people. And when I say power, obviously that means money, taxes that are wrongfully withheld, that are misused, that are misappropriated. I mean, systemic fraud is what is happening, as high as the ceiling goes. And I will say that I know what I'm speaking of. I've been volunteering for 8 years on the inside, and I know how interagency use their block grants. Well, those block grants are our hard-earned tax dollars. And it is my goal as governor that accountability right to the very inside, to cut these fundings, to redistribute these taxes that are spent and return it to the people. This is because we work hard. Sorry. And exuberant fees, and even, these positions in our government offices used to be servant positions. The history of our country, our state. They've been hijacked through greed and people that are disconnected and that have status quo and that have their career in politics, which great, and politics can work in many fields. But the thing is that right now we're facing an absolute crisis that is going to demand an absolute reset. I call myself a political detox, literally. Like, I ran in the middle for that reason, because my skill set is actually bringing opposing minds and helping steer it, navigate until we come with what works and what the people want and what is going to bring life. Everything, every program, everything that is put into place will be signed off as governor. We have to be able to prove that it's life-giving. We're not going to build on the back of the poor and the needy and make good, powerful salaries that taxpayers pay for and keep them stuck. We're going to create projects and everything. And this is not, as a governor, my job as governor is to steer this ship. That's what I'm asking. My skill set is equilibrium, to balance, which is an ability to literally moment by moment know how much water to let in that ship so you don't sink it when it's on high sea, and how much water to spit out when you're up on the top of the wave. And it's not something you can just get a degree and then, and do some work. It's a moment by moment capacity to steer, which means I'll hire we have some great Republican candidates running for governor that are great politicians, quite honestly, and I'll hire them. But my guiding, I really believe the skill set that is within me is the ability to discern and to know what is life-giving and what is a dead-end road. And I know this because literally I was raised in this state of Washington, from the Washington State foster care system. I know every program right from the inside. My life has been raised up from every one of these programs: food stamps, Section 8 housing, TANF welfare grant, and all of these programs you see. If you don't know how these programs are run and how they are being abused and used, we have no idea. They're swallowing our taxes. This cannot happen any longer. We're sinking. And I intend to bring accountability. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to ask you point blank.
Okay.
Before Governor Jay Inslee was elected, his part of his campaign,
yes,
was to eliminate taxes.
Okay.
As we currently stand, the state of Washington is the highest tax state in the union.
Yeah.
Are you going to do some things to overturn some of these taxes that our current governor has placed upon our state?
Well, I would say, to give credit, not to credit, but I would say that while it's a noble promise to make, right? But in all reality, what are you going to do? Do you have a printing press to print off dollars? No. In order to cut off taxes, you've got to know where that money's being spent. If you have no clue, because you have no idea how this money, our taxes are being taken and used to support programs and agencies, interagencies all across the state of Washington. I mean, across the nation entirely. And we're talking the abuse of these. If you don't know how to address where the taxes are being used, then you can't cut them because we're relying on them. We have the entire economy built. And when I say economy, we're not talking words, we're talking people. People that have families and that have children and that have dogs that you have to take to the veterinarian, and dance classes that you have to pay for, and private soccer club. We have a whole economy in Washington State built on the back of corruption and fraud as high as it goes. And that's because we don't have anybody that knows how that money is being said, and the people that are using that money aren't going to tell us because their salaries are built on it, and it's going to affect the way they live, what cars they drive, their status quo. So to address these issues is a really, really big deal. In order to be able to cut taxes, you have to know how to recreate what's being abused in our cities, which means to empower grassroots groups, people that are already doing in every community. They know what to do. Our communities know how to heal themselves. They know how to balance themselves. Our body knows how to do it. Our communities know. And as governor, my job will be to oversee and make sure that every program that is authentic, grassroots, people that know how to sacrificially and love to sacrificially build and resolve problems within their communities, that they're supported, that they're funded, which will diminish the amount of money that we're putting into government-sponsored programs that are doing nothing but creating salaries and an entire economy, and built on those dollars, and that will allow then to be able to have something to give back to the taxpayers. You can say that you're going to do it, but if you don't know how it's being misused, how are you going to fix it? Because if you just stop it, then you're going to sink the ship because people's lives are affected. But if you create a transition, which is my skill set, I will say it again, my skill set is the ability to know how to transition, and then so we're not relying so much on external things.
A lot of issues that we're having today is concerning money, and my next question is that as well, and that is, before Jay Inslee, we had Christine Gregoire in, and Christine Gregoire and came up with a law where our minimum wage is increased yearly. And I don't know what the current rate of other states are, but I know that Washington's current minimum wage is considerably higher than nationwide. And some people look at that as a positive because people are being able to make a more affordable living with the increase of money.
But if the cost of living.
But along with that, we have companies, a lot of the smaller businesses that are not doing a lot of hiring. For a matter of fact, they're doing a lot of laying off because they can't afford to pay at such a higher rate. Is there a balance, and where is the balance, and how do we find it, and how do we correct it so it can be more balanced, so that we can still make a decent living, but not so much that it's putting businesses in a it's jeopardizing businesses.
Small business, they can't afford it.
That can't afford the
overhead
to continue to keep people employed.
Yes. So I'm not exactly sure what's the specific question. I mean, the idea, I could go off the idea if you want, or what are we going to do about this?
Are we going to continue with Christine Gregoire's plan, or can we set up another plan where we can still have an increase in salary because we well deserve the salary, but is there a balance somewhere where we can cut it down so that it can help out the businessman so that he can keep
Employing.
people employed. You know, it's kind of a
Catch-22.
catch-22. We're gonna lose a little bit of funds, but we're gonna gain jobs in the process,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
or vice versa. You know,
Yes.
is there a balance somewhere? Can we find a balance, and how do we go about that?
Yeah, I do fully believe there is a balance. In fact, balance is like my middle name. Like it's like, I mean, I'm running right in the center. I mean, it really has been my theme, because any system that is not balanced is gonna be imbalanced. It's gonna we go to extremes, and I think that some of the strategies, in all honesty, I'm asking to vote me in as governor. Now, interestingly enough, having never been a politician, like, it's not just a title for me, it's actually my skill set. When you think governing is the ability, again, to navigate, to balance. And so, I'm not running for congresswoman or a state representative even, which are noble positions and powerful positions. They are our representatives in our communities and in our districts. So they're the ones who are going to represent, our voices. And so one of my passions and my job will be to continue to make sure that all of our congressmen and women and our state representatives are having open forums, and that we're motivating our common people that live day to day, our business people, to be involved in these decisions so that we can come up with the solutions. I believe if we open the forum for conversation and stop doing it for people and creating programs that we're going to help the poor people or we're going to help them, if we would reverse that and step away as leaders, providing the guidance and the structure, but allowing for us to hear the people, what their ideas are, so that we can formulate what actually works for us. I think that's going to be our success moving forward.
And then doing that, do you believe that more jobs will be created? And
Absolutely. I mean, just on my radar, under my radar, creating an entire task force is going to be actually an entirely separate task force of accountability. In every program that is using federal dollars or government money, which is our taxpayer dollars, every program that there's going to be a task force that is going to be specifically assigned for accountability, to make sure that those programs are actually the funding is being used, not from inside them determining, but bringing accountability from the outside to make sure that these programs are actually accomplishing the goals for which they've been created, and the money is being spent accordingly, and they're not exchanging money between organizations. We have no accountability. This is where millions of dollars are being lost that are our taxpayer dollars. And so I would say that would be, that in of itself is going to create jobs, and just the cost of living, bringing the cost of living down through our housing projects. I mean, bringing accountability to the abuse that's happening with housing, the fraud. So, I mean, we're talking, it's going to take step by step. But the one thing as a governor that I can guarantee, I'm not going to offer promise for programs and certain things, empty promises. My job will be to listen very, very carefully, to make sure that the doors are open, that the communication is open, and that legitimate needs and laws are legislated and passed with the light turned completely on. We know exactly, and that whatever that program is, or whatever that bill or the legislature that's trying to be passed, is fine-tooth comb with the light turned all the way on, and that we know that it is something that has an ingoing and an outgoing. It has life in it.
okay.
So. Thank you.
I can probably go on and on, but at this time,
Thank you.
I'm just, that's about all I really have to say.
Thank
and,
you, Dave.
And all my questions, and I just thank you, Elaina Joy Garcia.
Gonzalez.
It's
It's a G.
Gonzalez.
You got the G right.
I got the G right.
Speedy Gonzalez. That's what it is.
Speedy Gonzalez. Miss Gonzalez, thank you for your time, and
Thank you, Dave.
and may you have a blessed evening.
Thank you.